We're live? Okay, good. We are reconvening to public session. Roll call, all board members are present, so we do have a quorum for tonight's meeting. Public comment announcement. Pursuant to board policy 2350, public comment may be limited to 5 minutes per person. All speakers who would like to comment regarding a matter on the meeting agenda must submit a public comment card to the board president or recording secretary prior to the point in the meeting in which the agenda item is called. All speakers who would like to comment regarding a matter not on the meeting agenda must submit a public comment card to the board president or recording secretary prior to the point in the meeting for open forum on non-agenda items. Public comment cards are available at the information table at the rear of the boardroom from the recording secretary or online. And we will move on to the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Buffalo, will you please lead us?
Turn and face the flag, put your hand over your heart. Begin with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Agenda approval. May I hear a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Open forum on non-agenda items. We have no cards. Item 11, presentation. 11.1, presentation of intercollegiate athletics. Mr. Gang. Turn on the mic. Fred, the button. Yep.
I was asking for instructions on the clicker. I probably should ask for instructions on the mic first. Okay.
Tom,
Yes,
while you're speaking, you can take the mask off.
thank you. That's better. Last time I faced something like this, I was going into Okinawa, Japan in the Marine Corps, and it was the customs people, and they make you feel scared. So it's kind of intimidating sitting in front of a bunch of you like you're gonna let me in the country or something. So if I'm a little nervous, I'm having flashbacks to Japan. Tonight, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Thomas Gang. I'm the Dean of Kinesiology and Athletics here at Antelope Valley College, as well as the athletic director. I've served in that position for the past athletic director for the past 4 years. It's just been a year since I've been the Dean of Kinesiology and Athletics. What I'm here to present tonight is I'm here to present about our intercollegiate athletic program and the state of intercollegiate athletics here at Antelope Valley College and what we did through the 20 and the 21 school year. I named this presentation Adapt and Overcome. And obviously it's something I learned when I was in the military. And that was just the fact that you constantly had to adapt and you constantly had to overcome all the obstacles that are put in your way. And if I was to name something, one word, if I had to give one word for intercollegiate athletics in the state of California in this past year, it was obstacles. It was obstacles. Constant obstacles put in our way. We had to try to overcome those obstacles, and we did everything we could to get our kids the opportunity to compete, get our kids and our student athletes the opportunity to come back on campus. And we did what we could to fight those obstacles. Myself, my staff, and all of our coaches did a phenomenal job. And as you'll see through this presentation tonight, I'm going to go through some of the numbers that we dealt with. I'm also going to talk about the COVID narrative we had to go through. And I'm going to end on a positive because I think it's wonderful to note and look at the positives of what we're dealing with right now. Let's put the negatives behind us and move forward. So as I go, let's start with some of the numbers. If I can work this. What? Uh-oh. Thank you. I got to have a coaching before this became big, so I'm still learning how to do these presentations. So we're going to go ahead and start with the numbers. So I think it's important to note that in this last year's program, we had 81 female student athletes compete. We had 196 male student athletes, and then we had a total of 29 non-competing student athletes. Those people who don't know, the non-competing student athletes are the student athletes that are in our programs, they're working in our programs, they're practicing in our programs, but we don't submit their names to the state for competition. So the numbers that we have for the non-competing student athletes are the ones that we don't submit to the state, but they are in our program. So we had a total program number of 306. That's approximately a 14% decline from the years past. We typically hover around 340 to 350 student athletes. And I think you'll see the difference is because of the makeup of our student athletes. If you look at the next number, the breakdown, the AVC district and state student athlete percentage is 92%. And our out-of-state percentage is 18%. Typically, our out-of-state percentage hovers around 15 to 16% from what I've seen over the last few years. So this dip in our athletic numbers is, in my opinion, because of our out-of-state student athletes not coming into California to compete. Our coaches actively told out-of-state student athletes, hey, it's probably a good idea to stay home because we had no idea if they were going to be able to compete. We didn't want our fall student athletes moving out here in September and them sitting in an apartment paying rent and doing all their classes online and not being able to work because we had no idea, at the time, what we're going to be able to work out and when we're going to be able to get these kids on campus. So that's the dip in the out of state. If you look to the right, the academic scorecard, this is something that's really disappointing to me. We have a overall GPA of 2.87. Typically, we're above 3.0. We are one of the athletic department has one of the highest GPAs on campus per group. We typically do really well. I'm not going to make an excuse for COVID because I don't believe in making excuses for COVID, but I will say this, our student athletes seem like they struggle in online education. Our student athletes are kinesthetic learners for the most part, and they typically want to be in class. And what I've heard is they found it difficult. So we look forward to getting them back in the classroom. We look forward to getting our student athletes back on campus, and we look forward to seeing those numbers rise next year. I do apologize for that dip, but we have to do what we can to try to combat that. Moving on to the next is the COVID-19. And again, this is the big thing that we've all been talking about and we've all been dealing with this. I put it there and you see by the report, I put a timeline there. I also put some of the things that we have been going through here at Antelope Valley College, as well as the testing piece. The big thing that we need to know is that when COVID hit in March of last year, we canceled all of our spring sports seasons. All of our student athletes were in the middle of a sport. They were in the middle of competition. We had issued them gear. We had issued them all of their equipment. We've been traveling. We've been going through all this. And then when the shutdown came, we had to shut everything down. The benefit was the state allowed all of those student athletes who competed to have a free year. So they did not cause them to use a year of eligibility. So they were able to get that year back, which was a benefit. And then we go into summer. And as this progressed, we started seeing some trends and we started seeing some things happening and people were starting to get fearful of what was going to happen in athletics. Well, the state was ahead of that. The State California Community College Athletic Association was ahead of that, and they voted in July to shut down all of athletics in fall. We pushed up until that point, and then once the decision was made, we weren't going to be able to compete. We came back to the administration. We came back to and asked them if we're not competing, can we at least get these kids on campus? It's important to get these kids on campus. Junior college athletes are far different than high school athletes and major college athletes. Our coaches actively go out and recruit our student athletes. Our student athletes are students that don't do well in the classroom or haven't done well in the classroom. They haven't been successful in their high school. They may have struggled academically, but they have one thing that they love to do, and that's athletics. And we bring that to them, and we give them that opportunity. We chase them down. We are one department that when I say chase them down, we go to home visits and meet with parents at night. We have pizza nights and we bring kids from the community in and have pizza. We do so many things to try to build our student athlete population, to give them an outlet and give them an opportunity at education. And that's what we feel is important. And this pandemic, what it did is it shut off all of those kids. That at-risk population was left out. Decisions were being made and people were making decisions on behalf of safety, but not thinking of this whole at-risk group that we're losing. Now at Antelope Valley College, we're very fortunate. We had a great board and we had a great president that said, let's do what we can to get them on campus. We kept our student athletes safe. We kept them safe by having them on campus. We worked out in the summer. We worked out in the fall. We kept ourselves working and working to that one opportunity where we had the opportunity to compete. That opportunity came in the spring of last semester, spring of 2021. We competed in 16 sports in the spring. Now, for those of you who don't understand, typically you have about 8 sports in the spring, you have 8 sports in the fall, you may have a couple in the winter. It's spread out through the year. We shoved all of those 16 sports into one semester. We obviously our schedules were reduced. We had a lot of restrictions we had to follow, and we did that. We had to test. The state of California Department of Public Health came out with the IHE guidance document. I'm sure you've all heard of it. I'm sure you've all read through it. I know way too much about PCR testing and antigen testing that an athletic director in this country should know about. Too biological for me, but we found everything out about the testing. We found what testing was going to be good for us, for our system, for our student athletes. We were able to adjust our schedules to compete on Fridays and Saturdays, so we could test on Thursday to stay within that window of 48 hours within testing. So we tested over 1,600. We had over 1,621 tests in the spring. Out of those 1,621 tests, we had 7 positive cases. And I put in parentheses there, and I think this is important to note, 0 symptoms reported. 0 symptoms reported. You know, I think that's important is this. We do test our temperatures every day, that we check the students when they come in. We do the survey where they report the symptoms and they talk about the symptoms. They go through all that stuff. Not any symptoms were reported when these student athletes tested positive. The other thing I will note is this. When a student athlete comes in and tests on a Thursday morning, or a coach for that matter, or a staff member, or myself for that matter, when we go in and test, we have been working with student athletes. We have been engaged with student athletes. The student athletes have been practicing with each other. We've been working out fully. We've been competing fully, but we had not one outbreak, not one, which basically is a testament to our coaches creating practice situations where the student athletes can be safe. And we found that by looking at the sports that competed in the fall, whether it's professional, whether it's junior colleges across the country, whether it's high schools across the country, you can create a safe environment through adjusting your practices, adjusting your workouts that give the student athletes the opportunity to have safe workouts. And I think that the fact that we had 0 outbreaks, and the state of California says it's in harmony here, she may be able to correct me on this. If it's 3 people in the same program, that's an outbreak. We never had 1 person in the same program. So in my opinion, that shows that, hey, we did things safely this past year. Our coaches did a great job of making sure we were following all the guidelines and all the guidance. They jumped through a lot of hoops and we overcame a lot of hurdles. So it was a very impressive thing what we were able to do. I think it's important to note that we were the only junior college in Southern California to compete this year. 37 junior colleges in Southern California play football. Antelope Valley College was the only one to compete. We had to compete against a North team, College of Sequoias. We beat them twice, so I named us the state champions. Now nobody's gonna identify that, but we will. We'll believe we're the state champions. We're 2-0. And all of our other programs competed. A few of the schools in the South saw what we did in the beginning of the spring and decided to jump in the water in the end of spring. So a small amount of schools competed in what we called Spring 1. We had to compete against COS, Taft, Saracoso, teams from the North because we didn't have enough teams in the South to compete against. So we created a conference, an ad hoc conference that we can compete and give our student athletes that opportunity. We played different schools we never played in the past. It was a great experience for our student athletes and it was a great experience for us. We felt it was necessary that somebody needed to jump in the pool and say, the water's fine, come on in. And we did that. And the result of that, Spring 2 came along in March and April, and more schools from Southern California jumped in and said, we're going to do it. I've had call upon call upon call. Tommy, how you doing it? What are you guys doing? How can we do this? What do I need to say to my president? What do I need to say to my board? You know, we wish we had a board. We wish we had a president that would allow us to do these things. You think about that, 37 colleges in Southern California, 36 of them sat on the sidelines and watched AVC compete. 36, in my opinion, did not serve their students and give those students the opportunity that we did. Now, people always say to me, Tommy, why are you doing this? I got colleagues that have been sitting at home since March of last year, collecting a paycheck. And that's stealing. We came to work, our coaches came to work, and you ask yourself why we did this, and I'm going to show you why we did this. Wrong way. This is why we did this. If you look at those smiling faces up there, we did it for Melanie, Trevor, Marita, Jacob, Cameron, Brianna, Alfred, Jelena, Henry, and there's 3 more that got scholarships this week that aren't listed here. Because Patty had to have this presentation last week, and I wasn't able to add them to the presentation. But that's over 13 students of ours from this community that are going away on scholarship because we gave them the opportunity to compete. Because we stood up and said, hey, we're going to move forward and we're going to be forward thinkers and we're going to look forward and see how we can do this. So that's what's important, and that's why we do it. I'll say the 2 of those smiling faces up there, one of them was working at McDonald's, doing nothing. Coach ran into him and said, what are you doing? He's like, I'm just going to work at McDonald's. I don't know what I'm going to do. Why don't you come run track? Now the kid's going to Oregon State to run track from McDonald's. Because we went out there and we gave them the opportunity and we did what we felt was right. If you'd indulge me, I'd like to read a quote. And this is something that I saw earlier. Pursuing one goal to the utter exclusion of all others is not to make a choice, but to run from it. It is not leadership, it is abdication. As a leadership in the athletic department, we did not run from our student athletes. Our president did not run from our student athletes. And our board did not run from our student athletes. And for that, we are eternally grateful for what you've done for us. Thank you.
Any questions or comments from the board?
One
Huh?
comment, Tom. I think your GPA is great considering what we went through. I think
Yeah.
it's amazing because I've talked to so many students who struggled with this.
Yeah.
And it wasn't easy. And I congratulate you for going the extra mile because that's what makes us different from the schools down the hill, which didn't do that, didn't serve their students, and we did. And so that's a great thing.
I just wanted to ask you, Tom, the non-competing students, are these the students that are these students that are redshirted?
Correct.
And primarily, are most of these football players?
No, it goes across the board for all of them. There's many different reasons why somebody may be a non-competing student athlete. For example, they may be under units and it's not good for them to compete and use their year of eligibility because they won't be eligible to transfer by the end of that semester. Sometimes they need to get more units before they transfer. That's typically what it is. There are student athletes who were ineligible that did not meet the eligibility requirements. So there's a whole gamut of reasons why the student athlete wouldn't be there. And it goes through all programs.
Other questions or comments? I have to say, I was impressed being able to watch it on YouTube. A lot of the sports on YouTube, and not the same as being there, but I felt that there was a lot of support and you guys did a good job putting those games on YouTube.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
11.2, presentation of major AV Citizens Oversight Committee annual report.
Well, good evening. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Kevin Von Tungelm. I think I know most of you here on the board here. I'm the vice chair of the Antelope Valley College Measure AV Citizens Oversight Board. I've been there since the beginning. I think I've maybe missed 2 meetings, but I'm here to give the annual report this year. We have met quarterly during the last year, and I just brought the summary. The report each quarter is immense. We do review each and every outflow to every vendor going out there, and I can say conclusively that the Citizens Oversight Committee has determined that all the AV funds have been used in full compliance with the Constitution and within the language of the bond measure, and no salaries, teachers or administrative, have been paid. Pretty simple report. We did review the audit. The audit came to the same conclusion. Everything was used in compliance with the requirements. I don't know how much the board stays on top of that. I do kind of have a summary where we're at, but I'd be happy to skip that.
Go ahead.
So right now we've used, actually right now, the report, my report goes through February 28th. That's the last report we reviewed. And the expenditures have been $152,014,000 and change. So we're almost halfway there. Getting pretty close. It's amazing to see what's going on the campus as we go through here. I do have well, one child going to AVC and one has moved on in the UC system from here, which is fabulous. But the Palmdale Center has been completed. The central solar plant has been completed, 25 million. There's been 24,500,000 invested for future capital improvements. And I believe it's going to be 30 million total. Is that right?
35.
35 million. That's right, 10% of it. So we're getting there, and that money's there to invest and grow to pay for maintenance as we go forward. J 12 30th main entrance is partially complete, a little over $1 million spent there. The student services building has been partially complete, 11,884,000 spent there. Cedar Hall is in the design phase, 2.8 million spent. Student Center Commons is in the design phase, 2.48 million spent. Swing space, as we're moving things around, 9.5 million have been spent. Campus security building has been completed, 7.2 million. Campus infrastructure partially complete, 18,061,000 has been spent there. Information technology projects, 4 million. Planning coordination, general conditions partially completed, 4.3 million. Gym renovation is in the planning phase, 622,000. The modular field house, which I hear is wonderful, maybe Tom can attest to that, is completed, 6.6 million. Sage Hall is partially complete, looking wonderful, 15,966,000. Discovery Lab is partial complete, 10.65 million, and more swing space at 134,000. So again, we reviewed all of the payments to vendors, and we're sure that they've been spent appropriately.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board?
Kevin?
Yeah.
Mike,
You oversee the
Mike,
bids on these projects? Do you oversee the bids on these projects?
No, we do not. We get reports on them. I wouldn't really say we oversee them.
Uh-huh. So as the money's spent from the bonds, the property taxes go up accordingly? Are you familiar with that process?
I'm not sure I follow you there.
Maybe I can help. The taxing authority was passed by the taxpayers in 2016. And that comes out incrementally throughout the life of the bonds. So it doesn't just occur when we issue the bonds, then the taxpayer starts paying for it. And we have had 2 issuances at this point. The oversight committee's role is not to approve contracts. You approve the contracts. They ensure that what we're spending is within what the bond statement says and what we said to taxpayers we were going to do.
Thank you.
Okay, you bet.
thank you. Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Have a great evening.
You too. Item 11.3, presentation of the 2020-2021 tentative budget.
Good evening, members of the board, President Knudsen, Patty. I'm here to present the tentative budget. And my name is Sarah Miller, and I'm the Executive Director of Financial and Fiscal. So the topics that we'll be discussing today is the timeline, the Student Center funding formula, the 2020-21 estimated actuals, HERF, the governor's May revision highlights, budget assumptions, and the 2021-22 tentative budget. So last year, due to COVID, we were allowed to take a little bit more time in submitting documents, but this time those deadlines are back. Those deadlines are back to the standard deadlines. So we are required on or before the first day of July in each year to adopt a tentative budget and forward that information to the appropriate county officer. We need to adopt a final budget for 21-22 by September 15th and submit the audit for 2021 to the Chancellor's office by the end of December. The majority of our unrestricted funding comes from general apportionment, and these amounts are calculated using the student-centered funding formula. So I wanted to go over, there's a few slides on the student center funding formula. There's 3 allocations. There's a base allocation, a supplemental allocation, and a student success allocation. The current funding split is 70, 20, 10, and there's no plans to change this. So SCIF rates will be adjusted annually with COLA if there's COLA available. The COVID-19 emergencies conditions allowance was extended through 21-22, which protects us at our 2019-20 P1 FTES, which were 11,164. This protects the base allocation, which uses FTES, but not the other allocations, which are based on headcount. Hold harmless was extended, and the calculation is based on 2017-18 total computational revenue grown by COLA annually. This graph compares SB 361, the SB 361 formula and the SCIF formula that was adopted in 2018-2019 over a 3-year period. This graph shows 2018-19, 2019-20, and 2020-21. The FTEs for 2018 were 11,013, and the remaining years are at the 11,164. So SB 361, which was the old way of calculating TCR, was based on enrollment. So when there were declines in enrollment, it would result in a decline in funding, even though costs increased. So the higher education emergency relief funds, I have here the different allocations for each funding, HERF 1, 2, and 3. For HERF 1, there's no remaining funds. We have expended all of those funds. HERF 2, student aid, has no remaining funds. Institutional for HERF 2 has 10.9 million left. MSI has 789,000 left for a total of 11.73 million. And of course, there's HERF 3. Plans for allowable uses for the remaining institutional funds would include defraying expenses associated with the coronavirus, including lost revenue, reimbursement for expenses that have already incurred, technology costs associated with transition to distance education, faculty and staff trainings and payroll, and making additional emergency financial aid grants to students. There are additional requirements for HERF 3. A portion of the institutional funds must be used to implement evidence-based practices to monitor and suppress coronavirus in accordance with public health guidelines, which we are currently doing right now. Also, we have to conduct direct outreach to financial aid applicants about the opportunity to receive a financial aid adjustment due to the recent unemployment of a family member or independent student or other circumstances. We are currently calculating lost revenue dollars, student debt relief, along with looking at a summer grant distribution. We have until May 11th of 2022 to spend institutional and student, and March 2nd of 2022 to spend MSI. I know cost extension is available for 12 months after that. We have dispersed 17 million in financial aid grants to students to date. To achieve this, we supplemented the student aid portion with institutional funds. We are currently estimating our ending fund balance for unrestricted at 34 million. The ending fund balance is not cash. It includes an accrual for 13 million for the anticipated deferral payoff. At adopted budget, we'll have more conclusive estimates of actuals for the year. And because we have to do year-end reconciliations, accruals, and deferrals. At that time, we'll revise the assignments that you see here. Also at adopted, we'll have a 3-year budget outlook, and the assignments will be looked at through the lens of sustainability with future surpluses or deficits. The estimates are based on history and commitments, not future negotiated items. Of the estimated ending fund balance, we are proposing 18.4% reserve, which is approximately a little over 60 days of funding, along with assignments for categorical salaries and benefits. This would allow staff to continue to be paid if a program was cut, giving time for decisions to be made in regards to funding. Capital projects protection against the rising cost of construction is also included, along with reserves for emergencies, OPEB, a pension stabilization trust fund, and funding one-time resource allocations. We've also included diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives and training. We're also looking at including DEI in our prioritization rubrics, scoring areas, and it's important that we include DEI in the budgeting process. From the Chancellor's Office, we are committed to ensuring our faculty, administration, and staff are reflective of our diverse student population to ensure we are supporting students toward the completion of their educational goals in an equitable manner. A commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion enriches the vision of equity outlined in the Vision for Success and fosters an inclusive, anti-racist campus culture. The 2021 general fund estimated revenue. The general fund includes both unrestricted and restricted funds. State revenue is the majority of the revenue, which is comprised of mainly apportionment and EPA. Local is comprised mainly of property tax, revenue, and enrollments, and federal has increased due to HERF. General Fund 2020-21 estimated expenses, salaries and benefits comprise 67%, which is skewed due to the HERF expenditures, such as financial grants to students. For all the fund types, we are estimating revenue of 163 million and expenditures of 208 million. The deficit is due to Measure AV. There was not a bond issue in 2020-21. The governors may revise highlights. They're estimating a surplus of 70.7 billion for 21-22. The LAO estimates the surplus is really 38 billion. They also urge restoration of budget resilience and a focus on fewer issues. The SCIF COLA is 4.05%. The GAN limit is estimated to exceed be exceeded by 16 billion over 2020, 21, and 21, 22. Deferrals are going to be eliminated. Yay. And will be paid back in July and August. 13.1 million for unrestricted and 5.4 million for student equity and achievement. The actionable plans to close equity gaps is required for C funding, and it's no longer tied to COLA. Districts are required to adopt policies by June 30, 2022, to maintain their course and programs offered via online, at least 10 percentage points higher than the amount offered during the 2018-2019 academic year. For capital outlay, AVC is on the continuing projects for 20.3 million for the gym renovation. CalPERS is increasing to 22.91 in 2021-22, and CalSTRS to 16.92 in 2021-22. This is the California Community Colleges funding by program. That's a comparison between the budget for 2021, the revised budget for 2021, and the 2021-22 May revise. It shows the SCIF increases by COLA growth and base adjustments. Deferrals are eliminated. C and strong workforce have base adjustments of 5%. DSPS, EOPS, CARE, and CalWorks added 1.7% COLA. Part of the one-time funds included was the SB 85 early action package. Those funds were received in 2021. AVC received CalFresh outreach of 44,000, emergency financial aid of 1.5 million, and retention and enrollment outreach of 160,000. There's also one-time funding for deferred maintenance and instructional equipment. These are the budget assumptions that I used for 2021-22 revenue. I assumed 1% total computational revenue deficit. I increased the SCIF base and rates by COLA of 4.05%. And I kept the FTS at the protection, what we're protected as, at 11,164. I did decrease the other two sections based on head count by 15%. I also included increases for step and column. I increased the pension rates, workers' comp by 5%. And of course, in the 2020-21 ending fund balance, we're proposing funding the resource allocation. So the 2021-22 unrestricted fund tentative budget, I'm estimating revenue and expenditures of 84 million and an assignment for categorical and emergencies of 500,000 each, leaving a reserve of 15%. The general fund tentative budget revenue that includes restricted and unrestricted funds. The budget revenue is 60% state, 32% federal, and it's increased due to the HERF funds, and 8% local. The general fund 2021-22 tentative budget expenditures, salaries and benefits comprise 49%, which again is skewed because of the large amount of HERF expenditures. This is all fund types for the 2021-22 tentative budget. We're estimating revenue of 221 million and expenditures of 286 million. Again, the deficit is due to Measure AV. There is no bond issue estimated in this budget, but we are actively looking at different bond options. We will issue bonds if it's necessary for cash flow while ensuring we spend the funds in a timely manner. The best timing in the bond market is considered providing the best benefit to the taxpayer. Thank you. If you have any questions.
Any questions or comments from the board?
I do. Thank you, Mike. A couple quick questions. One is I look at the other outgo for 2021 and then it was 16%. And then I look at the other outgo for 21-22, it jumps considerably to 39% according to the budget. Can you
Right,
just kind of
Mhm.
explain why the huge jump in other outgo?
right. So the other outgo is increasing because of HERF. Also, when we put the tentative budget together, we may not have all the information to put it into the right accounts. So usually the tentative budget, maybe even adopted budget might have a higher outgo than it will end up having. But the large majority of it is those student financial aid grants that will with the HERF that we'll use the HERF funds for. And that's a very large amount.
And one more quick question, and I apologize if I missed it in your report, but can you give us an approximate percentage of our expenditures for employees, for salaries and benefits?
Right. So for 2021, the salaries and benefits, the estimated expenses were at 67%, salaries and benefits. But again, it's skewed by those HERF expenditures. And for, and then for 2021, 22, I'm showing at 49%, but there's just such a huge amount of HERF, and that's why that's skewing that, because there's not a lot of salaries being paid out of HERF.
Thank you.
Mr. Reeves, and please turn on your microphone.
You mentioned that you gave gave money for student grants. Now, that is not repaid. That's just money they do not have to repay. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Another thing you mentioned, let's see. I wanted to ask you about the money. You're talking all these millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars. Are those actual funds deposited in our account, or we draw out of accounts? We draw them out.
We draw them as you're talking about the HERF funds, we draw as we spend them.
Okay.
So they're
One last
located
question.
in G5 right now. They're available to us, but we don't draw them down until we spend them.
We don't, go to the bank and deposit the money and get interest on it or anything like that.
I'm sorry, could you
We
repeat
don't, we
that?
don't deposit the cash ourselves and go to the bank and get interest on the funds that are allocated to us.
Right. We're not allowed to draw the funds down far away from, not a lot of time can pass. When you draw it down, you have to have the expense within a few days.
Okay.
I think it's 3 to 15 days to have that expense. But the way we do it is we expense it, then we draw it.
Okay, one last question. In the beginning, it says this tentative budget is submitted to the county. Is that correct?
Right, that is the rule. Yes,
Oh, okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
I have a question.
Yes,
Hi.
hi.
I saw under your budget assumptions that you have decrease in allocation headcount.
Yeah, I did that, just looking at how our head count was. And so I decreased it by 15%. I don't have the data right now to to see if that is what's going to happen,
Right.
but that's
It's
what
a
I did.
forecast, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was wondering with the 10% under the student centered funding formula,
Mhm.
was that an assumption that it all would be there, the whole 10%, that it would come through the grant, or was there some reductions there?
Are you talking about, sorry, are you talking about the split on the skiff?
Mhm.
You're right. So that's actually in statute, that's
Okay.
70, 2010.
Mhm.
So that's, I think that they were going to phase it in to increase it.
Mhm.
But my understanding from the chancellor's office is that they have no intent of changing that split.
Okay, so the success measure will stay at 10%.
Right.
Okay,
If I may, originally, it was, the first year was going to be 70, 20, 10, second year 65,
Mhm.
25, 15, or something like that. And the third year was going to be 60, 20, 20, but that was suspended in legislation 2 years ago.
Okay. One thing I would like to ask is that at some point, I think it would be encompassed upon us to hear from someone in instruction or academic affairs to talk about success goals, where we're headed, if that's a review of the academic master plan, whatever that may be. But I think an update with that, with 10% under SCFF being, success measures, I would think that there would be coordinated planning across finance and academics.
Sure, we'll arrange that presentation for a future meeting before fall starts.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the board? Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Moving on the agenda, item 12, report of closed session action. Public Employment Assistant Superintendent, Vice President, Administrative Services under Government Code 54957. A motion was made by Mr. Reeves, second by Mr. Buffalo, and with a 5-0 vote, the board approved the public employment of Assistant Superintendent, Vice President, Administrative Services for Shaminder Bara, beginning July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2024. Congratulations. Consent agenda. May I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda by unanimous consent?
So move.
Second. Discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Moving on to action items. Item 14.1, approval of the 2021 tentative budget. May I hear a motion?
So move.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. 14.2, approval of the tentative agreement between Antelope Valley Community College, AVCCD, and Antelope Valley College Federation of Classified Employees, AVC, FCE, to maintain the same terms and conditions in the collective bargaining agreement for the period July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Item 14.3, approval of resolution to lay off number 20-21/10 due to bookstore contract going to Barnes and Noble. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Item 14.4, approval of resolution affirming Antelope Valley Community College District's commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. May I
So
hear a motion?
moved.
So moved.
I think.
Oh,
Second.
second. Got it.
Thank you. Discussion?
Yes, sir, Mr. President.
Sure.
I have a statement, and the statement is from me. It's not a board policy, a board statement. First of all, AV's Antelope Valley College is at the forefront of diversity. According to the internet, 81% of our student population is composed of minorities or persons of color. 28% of our students are full-time. 85% students receive financial aid. We have a food distribution program for needy students. We have an arrangement with a local hotel chain to house homeless students. More recently, this board has hired 2 vice presidents who are a minority or a person of color, and also the best qualified people for the jobs. If you are looking for diversity, equity, and inclusion, you are preaching to the choir, because Antelope Valley College is practicing what others dream of. It is true that the staffing levels don't reflect the ethnic composition of the campus, but I believe that's because AVC is a great place to work, and the benefits and pay are very good. As people retire in the future, the composition will change, like the makeup of the campus has changed. Like today, local residents will fill those positions. So what is the problem? Some say students can't excel as well unless there are people teaching them who look like them. Really? We have 2.1 million students at 116 colleges. 1 million of these students don't pay for their classes. 2/3 of the students are part-time. If there is a disparity in the composition of staff, it's not helping that those who want to change the staffing ratios want to retain the current system of hiring. How about a system, quote, equality, where applicants compete for a position with a written and oral exam, and then the top candidates are interviewed by board members who will make the final determination. Everyone will have an opportunity to apply and be subject to strict civil service rules. I believe that the DEI push is interfering with college promise programs, which are geared to helping students attend, stay in, and complete college. And these programs begin in high school. Undergraduate enrollment is down nationwide and locally. Community college make up 65% of these losses. Young people 18 to 24 are the largest group dropping out. No doubt it includes every ethnic and social group. I believe our focus should be on the college promise programs that concentrate on the students and their need to succeed. We don't need to be diverted from this goal with the desire to have specific ratios in hiring and only help certain students. Every student matters. One esteemed judge said, there's a kind of myth in the air that we'll have reform and the problem will go away. Implementation tends to be an afterthought. We need to focus on implementation. I will vote no on this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Advice? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed?
No,
Passes with a 4-1 vote. 14.5, approval of amendment number 1 to the consultant services agreement with Atkinson, Andelson, Loya, Rudd, and Romo, AALRR, for services working with human resources. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Item 14.6. Approval of amendment number 2 to the professional services agreement between Walter Johnson Associates Incorporated to provide investigative services for the district. May I hear a motion?
So move.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Item 14.7. Approval of amendment to continue the utilization of a consultant for COVID tracking and tracing for state guidelines. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Item 14.8, approval of local agreement CSPP 1149 for 2021-2022 with California Department of Education to provide state preschool program to eligible children. May I hear a motion?
So move.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
aye,
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Item 14.9. Approval of amended agreement with Cypress Risk Management for student athlete accident insurance coverage. May I hear a motion?
So move.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Item 14.10. Approval of increase in cost of student health services through timely MD. And I'll remind Mr. Reeves that he's going to abstain from this item. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? And abstain. Passes with 4 yes votes. 14.11. Approval of agreement between Parchment LLC, formerly Credential Solutions, and Antelope Valley College for online parking pass services from July 1st, 2020 through December 10th, 2021. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes, I was wondering, it's stated that this agreement should start July 1st, 2020. Can there be some clarification on this, please?
Can you speak a little bit louder?
Yes. It's stated that this agreement will start on July 1st, 2020. I was wondering if we could get some clarification on that.
I still didn't hear.
She asked for clarification, President Knudsen, on because it says July 1st, 2020, it will begin, and it's, 2021. She's just asking for clarification, I think, on the
If
date.
that's the correct date.
Those are the correct dates. Yes, we get the parking passes from them. And this is a term and a renewal. We haven't charged for parking since last March. And we gave credits in the fall and spring. But this will allow us, they'll start issuing the passes and whatnot for fall semester.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. For item 14.12. Approval to begin negotiations with PFD management for food service operations at the cafeteria. May I hear a motion?
So move.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Item 14.13, approval agreement with Life Signs, now DBA Life Signs Incorporated, to provide sign language interpreting services for deaf students, faculty, and community members for FY 2021-2022. May I hear a motion?
So move.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Item 14.14. Approval of clinical affiliation agreement between Ridgecrest Regional Hospital and Antelope Valley Community College District from July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022. I'll remind Mr. Reeves that he is abstaining from this item also. And may I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed and abstain. And that passes with 4 yes votes. Item 14.15. Approval of contract between County of Los Angeles and Antelope Valley Community College District for out-of-classroom coordination services. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Item 14.16. Approval of agreement number 21-W105 between South Bay Workforce Investment Board Incorporated and the Antelope Valley Community College through June 30th, 2023. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Item 14.17, approval to extend the service agreement with Desert Haven Enterprises from July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Item 14.18, approval to extend the service agreement with North State Environmental from July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022. May I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Item 14.19. Approval to extend purchase and installation of DSA approved portable buildings for the district with cooperative piggyback agreement through Centralia School District purchases through October 11th, 2021. May I hear a motion?
So move.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Item 14.20. Approval of operation and maintenance agreement with NG Services US to clean, maintain, and monitor photovoltaic panels. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Item 14.21. Approval to renew master agreements for ongoing construction management services. May I hear a motion?
So move.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Item 14.22. Approval of qualified professional services firms, project and construction management services. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Item 14.23, approval to utilize Ventura Unified School District's cooperative agreement for copiers. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Item 14.24, approval to utilize the Foundation for California Community Colleges Master Agreement with Amazon.com. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Item 14.25, approval to utilize Foundation for California Community Colleges Master Agreement with Cranium Cafe LLC DBA Connex Ed. May I hear a motion?
So move.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Item 14.26. Approval to utilize Foundation for California Community Colleges Master Agreement with Laerdal Medical Corporation. I will remind Mr. Rivas that he's abstained from this one. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed and abstained, passes with 4 yes votes. Item 14.27, approval to utilize the Foundation for California Community Colleges FCCC Services Agreement with Medline Industries Incorporated, a Delaware corporation, through March 18th, 2022. May I hear a motion?
So second.
Discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Item 14.28. Approval to utilize the Foundation for California Community Colleges Master Agreement with Waxy's Enterprises LLC DBA Waxy Sanitary Supply. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. With the board's permission, I'm going to group items 14.29 through 14.45, as all of those are notices of completion. And if any board member would like to pull one of those items for a separate discussion, please let me know. Otherwise, I will hear a motion to approve items 14.29 through 14.45, approval of file notices of completion.
Mr. President,
Yes,
I'd like to pull 14.43
1443.
for discussion.
Thank you. Anyone else? Then I will hear a motion to approve items 14.29 through 14.45, except 14.43.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Item 14.43, approval to file notice of completion and resolution of acceptance on the campus security project 17-040 Taft Electric Company with major AV funds. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President, is there anybody from construction or anybody here that, well, I guess I have to ask President Knudsen. Well, we do a lot of business with Taft Electric. Are those projects, do those projects have bidders for them? Or do we just have a long-term contract with Taft Electric?
Each project is bid separately. If it's over the bid limit there, we don't issue ongoing contracts.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Item 14.46, approval of change orders for campus security project 17-040 with major AV funds. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. With the board's indulgence, I'd like to also group items 14.47 through 14.54, as there are also similar approval of project assignment amendments for various projects. If any board member would like to pull one of those items for individual discussion, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll hear a motion to approve action items 14.47 through 14.54.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Thank you for indulging me. I didn't want to read all those. 14.55, approval of insurance program coverage proposal and statewide educational wrap-up program for the Sage Hall project 17-031 with major AV funds. May I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Discussion?
Yes, Mr. President. I just want to point out to the public, we go down through these notices, but personally, I go through all of them and review them. So they are being, even though we go through them quickly, they have been reviewed and looked at. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Advice?
I approve.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes with 5 yes votes. Item 15, informational items. Item 15.1, the 2020-2021 Board of Trustees self-evaluation is in your packets for review. Item 15.2, the 2020-2021 Academic Senate Annual Report to the Board is also in your packets for review. And item 15.3, Antelope Valley Community College District Facilities Services Monthly Report is in your packet for review. Item 16, reports and announcements. Item 16.1, Academic Senate, Van Ryder.
Good evening on this warm summer evening. My wife and I were discussing how the heat came quickly. And I'm not from the AV, so apparently that's normal. So, but it's good to be here, members of the board, President Knudsen. Thank you. It's 3 simple items. Again, the annual Senate summary was included in the agenda, and we invite you to review that at your leisure. I want to acknowledge the countless hours of our faculty, of our committee chairs, the committee members, and the classified staff that support those committees. We could not do this work without the support of administration, the classified, the students that are involved, and the faculty that man and those committees. We appreciate all that work. Again, I acknowledge and express my gratitude for them. The second item, I'd like to congratulate and endorse the board's endorsement of the agenda item 14.4.4, where it's affirming Antelope Valley Community College District commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. I look forward to being part of those discussions as we move forward in terms of the diversity initiatives and the actions that are outlined in the resolve. With the board's indulgence, I think it's important to look at that first resolve and to repeat that publicly. Now, therefore, it be resolved that we, the Antelope Valley College District Board of Trustees, hereby reaffirm strongly our support for diversity in faculty and staff hiring, diversity among faculty, staff, students, and programs, and expect everyone in the Antelope Valley College District community through their roles and responsibilities to implement the district's diversity initiatives and maintain a climate of respect, civility, anti-racism, and inclusion as part of the institution's commitment to excellence, educational excellence. I wholeheartedly endorse that because I believe in those principles, as do the faculty. And we welcome the opportunity to be part of those discussions, part of the decision-making processes, and to support such actions. Finally, we continue to encourage the board and the administration to continue their ongoing communication in preparation for fall of 2022 or 21. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item 16.2, Antelope Valley College Federation of Teachers, Dr. Aurora Bird.
Good evening, everybody. Can you all hear me okay? All right. I would like to start this evening by stating that my 6-week summer classes are 2/3 of the way complete, and I'm absolutely delighted at the quality of my students. I've heard similar stuff from many of my faculty colleagues. I am personally teaching a remote synchronous class and an asynchronous online class, and both classes are pretty much chock full of excellent students. Just a quick anecdote, some of them are going to have some lasting memories of their summer geoscience class. They had an extra credit opportunity to view the recent lunar eclipse, which happened at about 4 a.m. One student decided to sleep under the stars on an air mattress, but she forgot about the sprinklers in her yard. Anyway, she was awake for the eclipse, so I think she'll always remember that. On a more serious note, the district and the Federation continue negotiations related to the effects of a return to campus for summer 2021. And the Federation is glad to see the adoption of item 14.4 this evening. And we fully support the commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's it for tonight, folks. Thank you very much and see you in July.
Thank you. Item 16.3, Antelope Valley College Federation of Classified Employees, Pamela Ford. Thank you. Item 16.4, confidential management, supervisory, administrator employees, Bill Carlson. Thank you. Item 16.5, Associated Student Organization, Corey Barnes.
Hello, I'm Corey. Corey Barnes. I've been elected for the Executive Director of Special Programs here on campus. I'm an honor student in the Dean's List. So right now, as of today, we only have 4 positions filled for the AOS. We have Rosio, which you all know. We have Nazim Peoples. He became, we appointed him to president. He actually ran for vice president of a student. And then myself, and then we have a treasurer right now. So we're actively searching to appoint students to fill the other vacant positions, which equal to about 5 of them. And then we still have all 10 senator positions to fill. We're honored to serve and we look forward to the fall of 2021.
Thank you very much for your report. Item 16.6, Antelope Valley College Foundation, Diane Knipple is not here, but I will just pass along a little bit of information. It wasn't too long ago that the foundation passed the $9 million in assets mark. And we are now, I would think, within a couple months of passing 10 million. So continue to do very well with the College Foundation. Item 16.7, Office of Superintendent President, Mr. Knudsen.
Again, very short, just to reiterate what Aurora and Van have said, we are headed into the second half of our summer, and we are still enrolling classes for the second half. I'm glad to hear that everybody is enjoying the experience this summer and moving forward. Fall enrollment opened on June 8th, and we're tracking that, and we're working through how that will work in both on-campus instruction and remote instruction. But we are looking forward very much to the governor's message tomorrow. It appears as though his intention is to open the state, which will give us the opportunity to do some significant changes for fall to support students. Opening day is Friday, August 13th, and we're going to change it up a little bit this year. It will be Hawaiian Shirt Day. So administrators, you don't have to wear ties and business attire. You can wear Hawaiian shirts. We're going to have some fun throughout. We'll have box lunches instead of the barbecue so that people can spread out around campus and go look at all the construction that's going on. And we have arranged for some Kona ice. We have a very good presentation for the morning, along with a couple of student performances as well. So looking forward very much to opening day this year. And we'll disregard the fact that it's on Friday, August 13th. So that's what I have. We're looking forward to what the governor has to say tomorrow. And I think we're all going to be able to see smiles.
Thank you. 16.8, board member comments. Ms. Rivera.
Thank you. I would like to congratulate our new ASO officers, and I'm looking forward to working with you all. I would like to also encourage all students to apply for a position at ASO. More information should be coming out soon, so please check your emails. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Harvey.
Yes, I just wanted to say that last week I was driving down 30th Street and I was able to go from K to J, kind of loop around and take a look at Antelope Valley College, just, a bird's eye view. The growth is phenomenal. It really is. And so I know we have a whole group of students out in the community who have graduated. They may not know what they are doing this fall. I want to let you know that we have very impressive programs here at AVC. And even if you're a mid-career person who's looking to maybe change fields in what you do, we have a program for you too. So I just want to encourage the community that AVC is here to provide all educational needs and workforce development needs. And I'm really proud of the work we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Reeves.
I want to congratulate and welcome aboard our new vice president, and we look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Gaines.
Okay, I wanted to, first of all, congratulate Thomas and the entire athletic department. That took guts to be one of the only community colleges in the state that still held athletic teams and practices and went out and competed even on a limited schedule. So I congratulate them. And the grade point average, although he implied it did go down a little bit, it's still a grade point average that we can be proud of, that our athletes are also here for academic reasons. So I want to congratulate him for that. I also want to congratulate all of our new ASO officers, wish them the very best for the next year. And I'm sure you'll have a lot of fun holding those offices. I too want to extend my congratulations to Mr. Brar and say, welcome aboard. And so delighted to have you here at Antelope Valley Community College. I think you'll find it a great place to be. And I also want to just share that I heard someone in a Zoom meeting today, which I'm hoping comes to an end pretty soon because I'm about zoomed out. But talk about this past year and 3 months about learning loss and how the news, the press, the media has deemed this past 15 months as learning loss for many of our students. And I just want to say that I don't, although it was a difficult year, and for some kids, perhaps it was not the best year, and for others, it was a pretty good year. I just want to say that we learned many things throughout this past 15 months. The students did things that perhaps were not normally what they might have learned, but I just want to, again, thank all of our faculty and staff, because I know how hard this past 15 months was. And I just want to say thank you for hanging in there and making it as beneficial and as positive for all of our students that you possibly could. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Mr. Buffalo.
Okay, I'm gonna take off the mask. I'll second what Barbara just said, particularly for our students, and welcome our new administrator on board. I've heard great things about you. And so one of the things that when we sat here 15 months ago, how long it was, and we said 15 days to slow the spread, and we thought, well, maybe we'll be closed for 30 days. And of course, that went on and on and on and on. And now we're going to reopen in the fall fully, and that's great. I think the students have struggled with this. I know that a lot of them I have talked with have struggled with it. It hasn't been fun for most of them. And some of them just found the mute button. So that was kind of funny. And one of the instructors here at the college was telling me that she was watching one of her students and they were cooking dinner while they were listening to her class. So there was a lot of interesting experience. I know everybody did the best they could. It wasn't the best situation, and you kind of deal with what you were thrown. And unfortunately, we had to go through this. In addition, if you go out and walk around this campus, and I would encourage you to do so, and look at all the new construction and the buildings and start imagining the way this campus is going to look when we totally finish, but when we finish these 3 buildings that we have currently on the main site here, it's pretty amazing. The other thing, I would like to encourage the president of the college to declare summer dress, which they used to do at the cities. And that means all the ties come off because it's going to be 111 on Wednesday. And that's getting up there. That's like Palm Springs, Phoenix weather. But anyway, thank you for doing the best you could, and we survived, and now we move forward. Thank you.
Yes, one of the greatest traditions in the Antelope Valley was the first meeting in May at the city of Lancaster and the city of Palmdale, when the scissors would come out, and anyone who was foolish enough to wear a tie at that first meeting in May lost a tie. And that would stay that way until October of every year. Okay, we are not going to have to go back into closed session, and our next meeting is July 12th, 2021, and we are adjourned.
Ties now are 35 to $50.
Yeah, that's a substantial loss.
Okay, hang on, I have